Hi, everyone. We're just going to wait a few more minutes and then we'll get going. If we remain at only 3 residents, it might be worthwhile just to ask folks if they want a presentation or just go straight to Q&A. Like we'll play that by ear in the next few minutes.
You're the boss.
Thanks.
Three people so far.
Yeah, like I'll give it till 7:02 or 3. Just sometimes people are finding the links and stuff.
Yeah, I figured you might like it.
There we go. Just make sure you're muted if you're not speaking. Just be cognizant of background noise. Thanks.
Stop mute.
So we're just going to give it like 1 or 2 more minutes, give folks a chance to settle in, and then we'll get to talking about the construction. Riza, are you with your building or the CHNA or both tonight?
I'm not sure, Fiona.
Okay.
I guess I'm here as an individual, and that I will share information with individuals in the building. I did post the meeting in our mail room and sent it around to folks who I know.
Thanks. Yeah, I just don't see someone from the CHNA, and I'm surprised, unless I'm mistaken. Okay, well, might as well get going. Excuse me. Thanks everyone for joining us tonight. My name is Fiona. I'm with Kitchissippi Ward Councillor Jeff Leeper. I probably know a lot of you, if not all of you. So tonight we're discussing the upcoming construction for 90 Champagne. So as you may recall, there was a site plan application to facilitate permissions for a building on that property. Those have been approved and now they are moving forward with construction. So we like to give folks the opportunity to get up to speed on what's going to happen during the construction period and any impacts you may face as nearby residents. So we're a small group tonight, so it's going to be a very informal conversation. I'll ask you guys, there's only 5 of you. Would you like, they have prepared a presentation, so we can go through that if you'd like. Otherwise, if you have questions that are on your mind, we can kind of just start with some questions and maybe throw out some slides as they relate to that. So does anyone have a preference? Do we want the presentation or just go straight to some questions you may have? You can type it in the chat or you can unmute yourselves and let me know, whichever you'd prefer.
I think we can hear the presentation, but I definitely have questions after.
Perfect.
Since it's our 4th condo being built on this street, so questions.
Okay, perfect. So we'll go for the presentation. So I'm going to turn it over to John, and he's going to introduce his team. They prepared a presentation. We'll go through that, and then afterwards we'll do Q&A. I'll take questions either in the chat or you can electronically raise your hand. I'll show you here. There's a little raise hand icon in case you've never used that before, and I'll call on you to unmute yourself. Just so you know, we are recording this, and I will put it on our Words YouTube channel. So if anyone, any residents miss this meeting, you can send them the link afterwards. But also be cognizant if you want to if you want to be on video or speak out loud, just be cognizant that we're recording it and it'll be on YouTube. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to John for the presentation. Come on.
Thanks, Fiona. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. My name's John. I am the construction manager. I'm the owner of JBPA Developments and the construction manager that will be doing the building at 90 Champagne. With me, I have Steve Demaro, who's going to be our senior PM running the project, with Michael Kanalakis here as well this evening. And Jason Schinder is the representative of the owner. He's the owner of District Realty and a partner in the building. I also want to disclose that I'm also a partner in the high rise that's being built. So I've got two hats on. So it is in my best interest to make sure everything goes smoothly, because I'm still going to be in the neighborhood as part owner of the building. So with that being said, we'll have Michael start the slideshow, and we'll just go through a general synopsis of what the building is going to look like, the stats on the building, and then we'll have the Q&A. You got it, Michael? Can everybody see that?
Yep.
Thank you, yes.
Okay, so go to the next one. So if you could just see the project team, obviously, as I mentioned, myself with Steve, Bruno is the senior site super, and Michael Kanalakis. Those are the three guys that are going to be quarterbacking. Obviously, there's more men and women that are involved in this project, but if there are any issues on site, hopefully none, but if there are any issues, you are more than welcome to either email me, Steve, Bruno, Michael, whatever the issues may be, and we'll take care of them as best we can. Jason represents the owners, and he's got Kelly and Witt as part of his team as well for District and the Loretta Apartments. So go to the next slide. All the consultants and the professionals involved have worked obviously in Ottawa and are very familiar with the area. And we've got the architect being Rod Lahey, very reputable firm in Ottawa, Cleveland Jardine Structural, Smith and Anderson Mechanical, Novatech for the civil engineer, the land surveyor and planner Foten, Pynchon is doing the geotechnical, the landscape architect Kalala, and Creative Friction is doing the interior design. So that's just a simple rendering. We tried to get a little more detail, but the architect couldn't get it to us in time. But it's a 14-story building that will be with 3 levels of underground parking on the site. Go to the next page. We'll show a couple of pictures of what it's going to look like from different angles from the park and down the street from Champagne. Also something so down there. There you go. The exterior is brick and stone throughout. Okay, go one more. So we've got a 14-story building, 239 units, 14,000 roughly is each floor plate. The timeline of construction, where we should be mobilizing and starting next week. We're just waiting for one more document from the city to get final approval. They said it should be imminent now. Flip to the next slide. So the schedule starting, I've actually got here on the 14th. We're actually going to start next week. The excavation of the lot is going to take probably about 4 months, and that entails shoring, piling, and some blasting, obviously excavation. And when we get to the couple other slides, we'll show you how we'll be taking the debris out. The superstructure is probably about another 12 months after that, the concrete structure to go up. And the entire project is about 34 months, which finishes early in 2024. Okay. So I'm sure this is probably the residents' concern on the traffic flow. On your right-hand side is Carling. So we want to take the trucks that come down, they'll park in front. If you see the green hatch line, it's taking half of the laneway. We're only going to do an encroachment of half the lane of Champaign, so residents and local traffic can still get through, and our trucks will only go one way towards Carly. Line up on, if you're looking at the drawing, on the left-hand side or the north side of the lot, and then go down when they're pouring concrete or any other deliveries. During the excavation, they'll be coming through the middle of the lot, out, and then to the right, off to Carly. So the lane will never be closed entirely. I know the residents, I know what you guys went through over the last, I think it was like almost a year and a half, that whole street, that one section was closed off. We are not anticipating to do that whatsoever. It's just one lane that we're going to have blocked off for our encroachment with fencing and jersey barriers. The entire lot will be fenced in, obviously for safety and for protection. And we've, you know, this dictates where all the signs will be. We have temporary toilets in the corner. So, and our site trailer will be in the hatched line area that we're approaching with the city for our side of the street. There you go. So this here shows on the upper parkade of 285 Loretta, we put in temporary parking for those that were either parking under the lot, and they've moved up there now. I believe everyone has been mobilized to this area. Jason could comment on that. So we've displaced them into this area, which fortunately they don't have to go far or find parking down the streets. Next one. Crane location will be in behind the new structure. The purple is the crane. And if you could see the perimeter, the circle that goes around, that is how the crane will swing, right? So it doesn't affect the building to the south. It'll affect the building a little bit in behind on the upper podium, a little bit on the street, and the property to the north, a little bit of an overswing. This diagram just shows the crane again and where the pump will be. Pump is in the middle of the building for the concrete, so shouldn't affect anybody on the street or any interference. So as I had mentioned, excavation is 4 months. There will be some blasting, and the blasting process, obviously, they drill, put the explosives, cover them. A siren will go off. I don't know if you've experienced with the other buildings going up, and then you'll hear a blast. 1, maybe 2 a day, if things are going well, but that's to the extent of it. And then they dig it up and take it out and do it all over again. So that's a 4-month process. Pre-construction survey has been completed by Patterson, and that's on file. They've basically gone to the adjoining properties to check, document if there's any cracks or damages to the building. And obviously, if we do cause any problems or any deficiencies to the neighboring buildings, obviously we'll have it documented. And if it is, we have to take care of it. We will be installing monitor sensors for vibration to make sure everything is as per standard and per code during the excavation and shoring, piling, and blasting process. And it'll be monitored by a third-party engineer for everyone. Next. Obviously, COVID is a concern. We have rapid testing that we've purchased. Obviously, face masks are mandatory on our site. Social distancing is obviously mandatory. We have a full-time safety representative on site, whose his name is Jeremy Courtney. He is well seasoned, has been with me for years, and he takes his job seriously. We're doing another job in the glebe, and so far, fingers crossed, everything is going well. So we take that seriously, and we're proud of our record so far. As per the diagram that was seen before, the temporary toilets will have hot and cold water for hand washing, and it is positioned hopefully in an area where everyone is satisfied for that positioning. That's it for the safety part of, that's it. Very simple presentation. It's a straightforward job. I know we're going to be working together with our neighbors for 3 years, so I'm going to be here to try to make it easy for everyone. I know it's not a pleasant thing to hear construction trucks and blasting and all that, so I apologize, but we got to do our job. So hopefully we could do it with minimal inconvenience to everyone. So if anybody has any questions, Fiona?
Perfect, thanks so much. So yeah, I will take questions now. You can type anything in the chat, or you can raise your hand and I will call on you to ask a question. So Nicole, I see a hand raised. I'm going to ask you to mute yourself and ask your question, please.
Hi, thank you. I'm just wanting to inquire about work schedules, particularly on the weekend, because in the past we've had many promises, about certain start times with the developers, and would love to know what that policy is on the weekend.
Well, first of all, I'd love for them to work on the weekend. Obviously, it shortens the schedule, but when they do work the weekend, and obviously we have to abide by the city bylaws, right? So if it's 7 a.m. or 8 a.m., depending on the time of the year, that's the hours that we will abide by.
Okay, so I for some reason thought it was 9 o'clock on weekends, and 7 a.m. in the weekdays, but unless they've changed it, but I'd like to know, just because that has been a major concern in the past. And I guess my follow-up question is, so you will obviously identify one person that if we had any concerns on the weekend that we can actually call, or do we just call this?
Nicole, you can call me direct.
Okay.
I'm hands-on. I'm a micromanager. So I have no problems taking the call, because if it comes to me, they're going to listen. So now, if you email me 25 times a day, then I may deal with my property manager.
All right, I appreciate that. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Nicole. And I think Riza has some questions.
Yes, thank you. I have a couple of questions, and I can spread them out to give room for other people. The first question is the traffic control plan. Fiona shared an initial one with us that had the traffic going north on Champagne. So that's been changed?
Yeah, we thought it was a shorter route to go to Carling, so we're not going through Beach or going through any other down to Preston and all that. We thought it was easier to get straight to Carling, and then they're out of our way.
Okay, so the traffic is going to flow from Beach north on Champagne to Carling. Where will the trucks be entering the construction site?
Depending on, well, it will be on Champagne, like right in the middle of the site during the excavation process. And then once the excavation is done, it'll probably be closer to the southern of the property.
So right now there is a paved driveway adjacent to 100 Champagne. Is that
We're not going to be going on that. That's for some residents who still have parking underneath the podium.
Okay, so trucks will not be using that.
Trucks should not be there. Now, if they have to pick something up, it may just be a temporary thing, but they will not be going in and out of that laneway there.
Okay. In terms of pedestrians, could maybe put that slide up again and show how pedestrians will use the street?
Well, the pedestrians will be walking on the other side of the street. They won't be where it's hatched green. They won't be coming into our in our area because that's going to be a construction site.
Okay, so pedestrians who are going north on Champaign from Hickory, there's no sidewalk on the east side of the street. The sidewalk is on the west side of the street. So where will they safely cross the street?
Well, that's a very good point. I mean, we could set up, the problem we have there is there's only a limited area to drive, right? So unless we ask the Ashcroft property if we could encroach a little bit to have a walkway on his property, I don't think we'll have enough room to have them walk on the street that's safe.
Well,
For that one section where we're at.
well, if you could give some thought to
Yeah, that's a good point.
the safety of pedestrians. And now for pedestrians that are at the intersection of Beach and Champaign and are going to travel in a southerly direction towards Hickory, there's a sidewalk only on the west side, so they'll be on that sidewalk, and then they're going to need to navigate around the construction site to pick up the sidewalk past the construction site. So again, you're going to need to provide safe passage for pedestrians around the construction site.
Okay, that's a good point. We'll look into that, see what the city will allow us to do that.
Okay. The site trailer locations, those trailers will be there for the 34 months of construction?
No. Once we have the structure up, there may be one during the longevity of it, but our goal is to have the trades move inside the building as soon as we can in the garage spaces and use that as they're cordoned off an area inside the building. So we'll try to get everything off the street.
Okay, so will the street remain one-way traffic for the duration of the 34 months?
Unfortunately, yes. Now, could I do it 2 months before? Yes. The problem is, as we get to the end, we still need deliveries of whether it's materials, lights, furniture, and all that. And now we may be able to shorten it a little bit at the latter stages of the project, but throughout the whole project, we will take a majority of that encroachment. And it's mostly for safety, because trucks are coming and stopping and unloading.
Could you, I asked you to again, just review the construction hours, Monday to Friday and Saturday and Sunday?
Well, I know Monday to Friday, 7 a.m. Saturday, I'll have to ask my guys. Saturday, I thought Saturday was 8 a.m., but I'll have to double check.
8 till?
I think it's 8 till 4.
Okay.
But whatever it is, Mrs. Siegel will abide by. And listen, if there's a day that, I don't know, somebody's getting married or I don't know what it is, and we have to start later or we can't do what we're supposed to do, I just need fair warning and I'll try to work around it. I'll try to accommodate.
Okay, well, that's very kind. Thank you very much. I'll take my hand down for now. I do have some more questions, but perhaps somebody else.
Sure. Yeah, I don't see any in the chat and there's no other hands raised, but I will give it a second. Does anyone else have more questions? Otherwise, Teresa will continue. I would say just go ahead and continue. I'm not seeing anything else.
Okay, thank you very much. During the construction period, can you outline for us what procedures you have to minimize dust and dirt blowing off the site. We have lots of experience of construction around us, and this has been an issue. So
Where do
how do you address that?
You don't have to answer if you don't feel comfortable, but are you do you live close by?
Yes, I live at 100 Champagne.
Which is that Soho Champagne?
No, it's the 12-story tower adjacent to your property.
Oh, Domiciles building.
That's correct.
Okay, so you're right up against it. So we try to use water trucks to keep the dust down. Well, you know, that's our best bet to try to keep it down. Will we be 100% affected? Absolutely not. Will we be cleaning your windows? Most likely. But we will try our best to use the water trucks and keep the dust down. Once the excavation is done, obviously the concrete, it's you know, construction is a dirty job, but the bulk of the dust and the dirt is going to come from the excavation. So those 3 to 4 months, we're using water to keep the dust down. We have fencing. I think it goes, Steve, you correct me if I'm wrong, 8 or 10 feet high along that laneway between where you live, Mrs. Siegel, and the property. It doesn't help with the dust flying up in the air, but the debris will be contained. That's the best we can do.
Oh, well, that sounds promising. When it comes time to put the brick on the exterior of the building, there often are piles of sand that are on the site. And will those piles be covered at night?
They come, well, you could get piles of sand, or they actually come in containers too, like kind of like a silo, right? So I like the silo because there's no mess, and the kids can't throw debris in it, and you know, they throw stones in it, which screws up the mixer. So we can accommodate you and maybe mix at the other end and do it more because on the beach, the building closer to the beach on the west side has a big open parking lot there. So we could accommodate you and do the mixing down there.
That sounds like a good solution. In terms of scrap building material, strapping that's used to hold pallets of material and such, there is a lot of wind on the street. There is somewhat of a wind tunnel effect, and those blow around. Will your staff be collecting those that
Absolutely.
found off the property?
Absolutely. I mean, we do as best we can. You know, I'm going to deny it. I'm building in the glebe, and we tried to do our best, but a big gust of wind came. I don't know how long ago it was, a couple months ago. We got called in the middle of the night. We went and we strapped down as best we can. So yeah, we've got laborers full time on the site, always doing cleaning and checking things out. And if for some reason it does come a gust of wind and it flies even more, you got my number, call me and they'll be there.
That's good. Perhaps if your number and the number of the project manager and site supervisor could be forwarded to Fiona so that she could share those, that would be appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, thank you very much. You've been really thorough, and I think that covers off questions that I received from residents in the building, so I thank you.
Not a problem. Thank you.
Thank you. So I understand, I think it's Judith has a question. So Judith, you can go ahead and unmute yourself if you want to ask your question.
Thank you. I can't find the hand raising thing, so.
No worries.
There are 4 questions, and I don't have to do them all at once, but it would be great if You could answer the most important that we've been finding here in the building. We're at 285, Loretta. When I'm looking at your site plan, I see the green, and the green seems to butt up right next to the overhang of where the cars are currently parking on. So my question is, how far is the building wall from the 100+ apartments that are facing east on 285 Loretta?
So if I look at the survey, it's not right up against that podium. The green hatched area was just a generic, this is where the buildings. If we look at the building, I think we go 1 meter in, and then the excavation starts, and then it sets back even further with a podium, and then the building. I'll have to do a takeoff on the exact near footage, but it won't be right up against that.
It's approximately 30 feet away from the edge of the.
I was gonna say 35 feet, but yeah, 30 feet seems reasonable. Yeah, Michael.
So 30 feet away from the overhang.
That's
the
right.
edge,
Where that red
correct.
line is.
Okay. I'm not quite sure how far 30 feet is, but I will measure.
30 feet
Yeah,
Would-
go ahead.
would be approximately 3 parking spaces wide.
That's very good. Visual is very helpful. Vertically or horizontally?
The way they're located, the way they were painted before, so it's like putting three cars beside each other.
Beside each other, okay. The next question I had for you is, I know it sounds a little bit crazy, but one of the best things about facing the east side is that there is a beautiful tree on the corner of, it's the northwest side of the parking lot. It's huge and it changes color all the time. And it's not on our property, it's on the other property, but it's so big. And I know with the other construction that just finished, the Envie, they destroyed all of the trees in the park. And yes, they have been able to repot them or put a couple of extra ones in. But my question is, what's going to happen to that tree?
So Judith, we've met with, it's Judith, right?
Correct?
Yeah, we met with an arborist that the city approved, James Cardy and Andrew Boyd, I believe is his last name, to take a look at that tree. We may have to prune it. We're not sure yet, but we've already had them engaged because we know how sensitive and important trees are. So we already have it on our radar. So it does have to get pruned or trimmed. They will be engaged and look out for the best interest of the tree.
Okay, next, how many workers are there going to be on the site at any one time, or in average? On average?
As many as I could get there.
I was gonna say not enough.
The excavation, it's going to vary. Like excavation could be 6, 7. The formwork could be 20. And then when they're all firing on all cylinders, I wouldn't be surprised if we hit 70 or 80 people.
My last question is, I know that the cars have been moved up onto that canopy. We call it a canopy, but whatever that is, it's a roof.
Right. Yeah,
And
podium.
then- Podium?
Yep.
Okay, podium. And we are still parking underneath it. My question is, and I still don't know the answer to this, is what do we still have visitors parking?
Yes.
Jason would have to answer that question.
Yes, you will. I apologize that I don't know off the top of my head exactly where it is, But we will get a memo out to the occupants of 285 Loretta, letting them know where it is. But yes, it's been scheduled.
Thank you. And just to let you know, Mr. Schinder, we are pretty pissed that we have to pay for visitors parking now. And many of my friends received parking tickets, $90 each just to park in visitors. Not right. But that's neither here nor there. It's not on this particular thing. Any questions from you? No, I have someone else here in the room watching. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Judith.
Thank you. I see Riza's hand raised again. I don't know if that was from before or if you have a new question.
Yes, I do. The workers on the site, where will they be parking?
When I built the Soho Champagne years ago, and we would park at the corner, Carling and Champagne. There's parking there. We've already contracted, have to find parking on either there, or they carpool or try to find, because we know there's not that many spots on the street. So they understand the process. They've worked, some of the trades have worked on that street before when we did Soho Champagne. So our goal is to get them to carpool and get as many people in that parking lot as possible.
I'm sorry, could you just clarify which parking lot?
The one at the corner of Carling and Champagne.
That's a private parking lot for work Civic Hospital.
For the Civic Hospital, yeah.
But they had, when I built there 6-7 years ago, they gave us the opportunity to get additional spots. I changed, to be truthful, I haven't looked into it, but we were just assuming that we could get spots for them.
Well, I would suspect that's an incorrect assumption, and
Okay.
because it's always full with hospital workers, and there's no mechanism for individuals who haven't purchased the hospital pass to access that parking lot.
It worked 7 years ago, so obviously it's changed.
We've had preliminary conversations with the landowner for both that site and another one about temporary parking for years. So we're working on it. We recognize there isn't street parking and we don't have the area to give them. We're doing our best to make sure that the employees will have, that all contractors will have designated parking spaces somewhere, not crowding the street.
Thank you.
Thank you. I don't have any other hands raised. I don't have anything in the chat. I will give it a few more seconds. Does anyone else have any questions before we conclude tonight?
We'll send you the contact info like Mrs. Siegel requested to you, Fiona, later tonight, and with our phone numbers and
yeah, so if you want that contact information, make sure you shoot me an email in case I don't have your email already, and that way I can send you that. Just let me know that you're looking for it. Judith is asking, what is the plan for trees? Are you planting any?
yeah, the landscape design, you should go online. There's, do you have that? We're going to share the screen. We'll just show you what the city has approved for the front of the building. Like 14 maple trees that'll be planted in front of the building. So it's actually going to be beautiful when it's done.
Thanks. And I'll, if I can get it, I will put the site plan link into the chat.
So can everybody see that?
Yeah.
And it stipulates the type of tree, the maples, the shrubs in the back. So that's what's going to be planted.
Okay, so Judith, I'm just trying to pull up the approved site plan application. For those who are maybe new to this process, every time there's a zoning bylaw amendment application or a site plan application, you see the signs go up on the property. And then those applications go onto this program called DevApps, where you can find all the active and inactive applications. So I'm just pulling up the link. It finally loaded for me. So this would have been on circulation 2019, I want to say, when it was seeking approval. There's the link right now. If you scroll, you'll be able to see all the various studies and components to the site plan. So the landscaping plan, which will show the trees, would be one of those, as well as a variety of other ones. So that link is there now. Does anyone else have any questions? It doesn't have to be, you know, if a question pops up later, you're welcome to email us and we can connect you to the developments team and make sure that you're getting that answered.
They can email me direct. They have my email, so if they think of something later, they can email me direct.
Perfect, yes. And Riza, was that an old hand? Sorry.
No, I'm sorry. If you'll
No,
need
it's okay.
It's a new hand. I'll just ask John directly the question that I asked you about whether it would be possible to have the street closure plan so that can be made available to residents who live nearby.
That we just showed on the screen?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We'll send that to Fiona in a PDF and then she could send it to you.
That would be great. Thanks very much.
Okay.
We also have Judith asking for the PowerPoint presentation to be sent in the chat. Judith, if you want a copy, just shoot us an email and we'll make sure that you get a copy. I'm not sure if they're able to put it in the chat right at this moment. If you guys can, please feel free. I just don't know if you can do that. Might be too large of a file. Okay, I'm going to consider this concluded. I don't see any other burning questions. Yes, Judith, if you could please shoot us an email with what you're looking for, I'd be happy to respond to you. Thank you. So thanks everyone for coming out tonight. As we said, this is going to be recorded and put on YouTube, so you're welcome to share that with your neighbors. Thanks everyone for taking the time. Thank you, John, Michael, Steve, and Jason for preparing the presentation and speaking to us tonight.
Thank you, Fiona, for arranging it, and thank you. Like I reiterated, Jason and I have no issues. You guys could email me any concern. I'll try to address them ASAP.
Perfect. Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Everyone, have a good night.
Bye.
Bye-bye.